Good evening, everyone. I'll try to give more time to your questions tonight. But basically, I have like 3 or 4 short statements. First of all, the security situation in most of the country remains basically the same. The wishful reporting of some journalists that the rebels are gaining more power and more control of some areas is not correct. It's a very simple case of the Libyan army succeeding in pushing out the rebels from their centers of concentration, especially in the Western Mountain. And what we witnessed in the town of Al-Mutrad, west of Zawiya, is just another proof of how weak and scattered the rebels are and how unpopular they are. They were pushed by the army and some of the local population in the Western Mountain. They found no way to escape since the borders now with Algeria and Tunisia are more secure. And since south of the Western Mountain is only the desert, they found themselves escaping to northbound towards Zawiya. They were not able to enter Zawiya. Their numbers are very small. They were defeated after a few hours of scattered skirmishes with the army. Many of them were killed, many were captured. Some are of foreign origins, Algerians, Yemenis, and Egyptians. As it is the case of Misrata. In Misrata, it's only the continuous and unjustified bombardment of the city by NATO from the sea and from the air that is preventing us from declaring total victory there. It is a very small pocket of armed rebellion, completely protected by NATO's power to keep the city out of our celebration of victory there. What people need to understand is very simple. From Jdabiya to Tunisia, and from the sea to the south of Libya, the Libyan government has a very strong hold on the land, and at the same time, the tribes, as we have proved again and again, the people, just the world doesn't want to listen. The tribes are on the side of the legitimate government of this country. Yes, of course, there are pockets of violence. We never denied this. But they are indeed pathetic pockets of violence that do not pose any real threat to us. Yes, they do cowardly attack our checkpoints, kill a soldier here, a police officer there, but that's hardly a threat to the security and the establishment of the legitimate Libyan government. Remember, it's almost 3 months of the continuous bombardment by the mightiest armies in the world. And these people cannot achieve any advance in their violent cause against the Libyan government. And also, it's a proof that these people are not supported by the population. Now, it's just logical. If the population is with them, if even not the whole population, but a major, sizable portion of the population is with them, with the rebels, and NATO is with them in the air, how is it that they haven't really achieved any real threat to the government? This is another proof that it's only because the population, by and large, is rallying behind the leadership of this country against NATO and the rebels. Libyans are an Arab Muslim nation with an honorable, dignified history of struggle against foreign invaders. Libyans will never have it written on their foreheads that decided with NATO, with the ugly, evil forces of NATO, against their own government, even if they had differences with their own government. People do not think of this conflict about a conflict about democracy. It's now about honor, about dignity, about what history will write, about our grandchildren. It will never be written that the Libyan population, the Libyan nation fought with the evil forces of Italy, France, and Britain. The forces we know very well because they killed so many people in the last 100 years of the Libyan nation and the Algerian nation and the Tunisian nation and the Moroccan nation, let alone the African, the black African nations. So we need reporters to stop wishful reporting. I read some journalists, some of them are based here in Tripoli, and they talk about events that took place in Zawiya or Salman or Al-Khoms as if they were eyewitnesses. The way the information is presented in their newspapers and their live broadcasting is like, it feels like if they were there and watching it. Some talk about the Libyan government bribing whole villages and the villages coming out refusing the bribes. And someone else wrote about whole towns coming on foot in support of the rebels. Nothing but lies. Some of your colleagues today went to Zawiya and they toured the whole area of from here to Zawiya and beyond and south of Zawiya, and they saw with their own eyes how secure the town was. You could ask them. They filmed it. They filmed the shops open, people walking. They're going around their daily life. We will, in the next 2 days, take you in, we take all of you, in different journeys, south, east, and west of Tripoli. So you could see all of the areas, once and for all, in all directions. The idea is to take some of you eastbound, some of you westbound, some of you southbound. And you could drive for long distances and see for yourselves that all of these areas are calm, are secure, and that they are in support of the government of this country. As for the pockets of violence, they exist, of course they do, but they are pathetic, they are weak. Their numbers are in the dozens, not even in the hundreds or in the thousands, in the dozens. Many of them continue to surrender. You saw how comfortable and confident we are. Many of you witnessed the release of hundreds of fighters by the government. Now, a government that is weak, a government that feels threatened, will never release hundreds upon hundreds of fighters against it. Most of you witnessed this. We took you to the release celebrations, if you like. And so far, we have released around 800 fighters. And these 800 fighters were filmed by you, were interviewed by you or your colleagues, if you were not here. Because I think the last time we released a group of fighters was maybe 2 weeks ago. So if you did not witness these, the releasing of these hundreds of fighters, ask your colleagues and go back to the archive. You will find that we are releasing fighters. You will not release fighters if you are scared or under the threat of a true and genuine popular armed rebellion. So we need people to give the general picture of things and not to run after the little news. If there is a skirmish here and a small battle there with dozens or with 20 armed fighters, people go, you know, just go mad and they report the weirdest of things. We are in control. We have, yes, we have not declared victory yet in Misrata because of the NATO airstrikes. The same thing with the Zintan, although we control most of the area, but the continuous illegal, immoral attack of NATO that is not directed at the protection of civilians. Everyone knows that. I mean, you really have to be quite on the thick side to believe that NATO, after 3 months, is actually protecting civilians, while it's killing civilians every single day, and while Libya has offered peace and negotiation every single day. Again, and I would like you to pay attention to this simple fact. 3 months of NATO's strikes if there is any popular armed rebellion against the government, it should do better. It should do better. It's as simple as that. My second statement is about those who demand the leader to leave. Well, 2 points. First of all, no one has the right to ask any Libyan citizen, let alone the leader, the honorable leader of this country, to leave. This is a matter for Libyans. Libyans are the ones who should ask anyone to leave or stay. So for a foreign diplomat, a foreign politician, to take this position and ask the leader of this country to leave is immoral, is illegal, and we reject it outright. And any talk of negotiation for the leader to leave are nonsense. Do not believe in the reports. The leader is an honorable Libyan who fought for decades against Western imperialism. Those of you who do not understand what Western imperialism means, I do not know why they are here. We know what the West does in Africa and Asia and everywhere. The history of the West does not support its position as a moral power whatsoever. We are here. We have one option in Libya, which is to exist here and now and change our country by ourselves. Now, those who have options are the invaders. They have the option to continue and meet a total defeat. They have the option to stop and negotiate and prove themselves peaceful and moral. They have the options, not us. We do not have options. Our option is what we are doing right now. It's the only option we have. And it's what our conscience tells us to do. It's what our morality, what our civilization, our history, and our nation. This is our stand in history. We want to live and die, and this is our position. We know we are moral. We know we are doing the right thing. Now, those who come day and night and kill people by very, very expensive rockets are the ones who should consider their actions. They are the ones who should not be able to sleep if they had any conscience. People forget the hard questions. This is my last statement. People forget that everything in this conflict, everything was based on 3 major lies that no one was able to prove, and actually we were able to prove the contrary. That one, we bombarded particular named neighborhoods of Tripoli. You see, this is how bad people are following the logic of things. We were accused of bombarding and destroying, completely destroying 3 neighborhoods of Tripoli: Tajura, Souq al-Jum'ah, and Fashloum. And this was mentioned even with the Security Council, with the United Nations, with everyone. People forget this basic major lie that led to the NATO strikes. Now, these neighborhoods exist. You can go and visit them. You will see that the only airstrikes you can see is the NATO airstrikes. The second big lie is the massacres in these 3 neighborhoods of thousands of people. Again, people went there many times. Journalists made dozens of journeys to these neighborhoods and other places. They could not see or smell death anywhere. They talked to people. No one cared even to come and prove that we killed these people. The third lie is the using of mercenaries. And again, no one whatsoever provided a shred of reliable evidence, that we imported mercenaries from Black Africa to fight our nation. Now, you are being accused of crimes. You are being punished for these crimes. You are not being investigated. No one providing any evidence whatsoever, and you are bombarded every night. You can hardly defend this position, either morally or legally. The Libyan government has asked thousands of times, for the international community to send in fact-finding missions. Here again, you are hearing it for the 1,000th times from me. No one cares to send fact-finding mission. No one cares to send investigators. because they know if they do so, they will prove themselves wrong. They will prove that none of the crimes was committed whatsoever.